Greetings. My name is Sanjay Vail, and I'm going to take you through the research, data collection, and analysis um, chapters. So, we will be covering research and data collection, research techniques, comparison metrics, interviews, focus groups, questionnaires, attitude surveys, handling data, analysis of data, and data analysis quiz. So, research and data collection, uh, we collect facts and understanding, perception and attitudes uh, in terms of our work in consulting. There are a number of methods available to collect the data, and the key features and sequence of activities of each of these following methods are discussed, like individual interviews, focus group, questionnaires, attitude survey. And in the session, we'll discuss the pros and cons of the method, desk search and work study. We can use various techniques in order to uh, do our research. We can conduct structured interviews, semi-structured interviews, unstructured interviews, focus group. We can have questionnaire and survey, work study, um, open or covert, and desk research for secondary data. All of these have their own pros and cons. Now, the purpose for the individual interview is to obtain basic factual data about the project at hand and solicit more subjective quantitative opinions, build a trust and supportive relationship with the project sponsors, provide data to assist in planning workshops, etc., work with the sponsors to jointly analyze situation or problem or agree, diagnosis, discuss possible course of action, and check and evaluate reaction to the contemplated course of action. Some of the key features of individual interviews are both quantitative and qualitative. It can be as much as attitude and opinion as it can be about facts and interventionist. Although interviews may ostensibly be held just to gather information, they do provide an opportunity to intervene by providing reaction and by testing ideas tailored in subject and structure to the specific purpose of the interview, strictly fact finding or relationship building. The various kinds of interviews are mentioned here. These include structured, where we have a set of questions, choice of answers, set of open answers, semi structured, where some of these questions um, are open follow ups or topic areas for open answer. Then we have unstructured, which are open answer questions. The sequence of activities include planning, opening, and then conducting the audit. In the planning, we try to undertake the interview, and the consultant considers objective, strategy, structure, and behavior. The objective here is to help clarify the objective of the interview. It is helpful to ask, is the objective of the interview? What do I want to have achieved by the end of the interview? And what do I have to find out? The strategy, which are in terms of areas do we wish to find information in the interview, to help develop your own strategy. And it is important that you think clear throughout. The structure includes dividing into three stages: the opening, the interview, and the closing part of the interview. During the interview, we look at the behavior. On the day itself, it is the consultant's interpersonal skill that translate the successful planned interview into a successful conducted interview. The key among these are observing, questioning, listening, probing, non-verbal questions. Opening, at the beginning of the interview, there is usually some time spent exchanging pleasantries. And idea is to build reputation or rapport uh, between the interviewee and the interviewer. The next stage of the opening involves setting up and getting agreement to what is referred to as the contract. And this involves agreeing the objectives of the meeting, establishing how long the interview will take, and checking that this is suitable, explaining what the information will be used for, touching on confidentiality or otherwise as appropriate, introducing the areas to be covered, checking it is acceptable to take notes, and finally getting the interview agreement to this contract. And then finally conducting the interview. At this stage, you work to your strategy to move through all the areas of interview and cover them. Key skills at this point are observing and listening, and ensuring that the interviewee's logical and emotional needs are being met by the way in which the interview is conducted. So, when conducting the interview, keep questions clear, simple, focused on the overall area to be covered. Keep the tone informal, open, spontaneous as the topic or area permits, and get the interview to talk about as much as possible with the minimum of overt guidance or interruption. Avoid forcing a response. Be sensitive to any cues provided by the interviewee on his or her reaction to the questions and the answers. Listen attentively to encourage interaction with the interview. Look alert and interested. Take encouraging noises from time to time and use body positive language, or positive body language, leaning towards or forward, nodding, smiling, and demonstrating involvement and interest. Move from general questions to a supplementary question in order to explore the dimension of basic issues. Probe, do not accept superficial answers or replies, which appears to conceal more than they reveal. Probe by using supplementary questions such as, could you give me an example? Or, how did you actually achieve that? What happens next? Review and validate. Pause to review when the direction the interview has taken. Keep your list of questions available, but do not follow them too rigidly, as this may reduce your ability to probe the interviewee on interesting areas when they are prepared to discuss and which you have not previously identified. Finally, close. The interview is not over when you have all the information you wanted or when you run out of time. It remains for you to summarize the main points. Ask the interviewee if there is anything else that he or she would like to say. Let the interviewer know what will happen to the data. Leave open the option for you to call back or for time or her to contact you and thank the interviewee. The focus group. The purpose of a focus group is a meeting with a representative sample of employees where attitudes and opinions can be sought, providing a fairly inexpensive way to collect data. Typically, they are used in order to highlight positive, neutral, and negative attitudes toward the issues, approach, etc. of the project at hand. Provide information about the issues and feeling which can then be used to plan further activities such as survey, workshop, etc. Gain commitment to the output of the project by involving employee representatives in discussions of the issues, solutions, etc. Key features include focus groups that is structured, informal, constructive, and confidential. The rationale for using the focus groups are that they encourage people to express and exchange their views more freely in a group setting than if they were asked for their comments at individual interviews. A quick cross section of views can be obtained. Individual interviews or attitude surveys are time consuming. The sequence of activities involves steps to take in planning for focus group, which are establishing objectives of the meeting. For example, to determine how people in the company feel about the appraisal system. Define the points to be covered, typically 10 or so points, which are then translated into questions that are agreed upon by management. Agree the group membership, typical size 10 participants. The aim should be to get a representative sample from different departments, functions and levels within a or your group, organization who are affected by the project. Whilst the group should always include people from cross-section of department, it is inadvisable to mix levels too much as this could inhibit the expression of the view. A mix of levels can sometimes spark off interesting differences of opinion, but the risk of restricting discussion always exists. Set up groups. An ideal ratio would be one group of 10 for every 100 employee, although it may be necessary to settle for less. Arrange meeting, prepare issues the issues the meeting program, gaining permission from all participants to attend. Once the meeting is commenced, write the issues to be covered in a flip chart and start the session with an open-ended question. Ensure all participants feel they are able to contribute, but do not feel preoccupied to do so. Ensure that the comments are captured using the word and language of the group, not sanitize at this point. Let the group know that what will happen when the information, with this information, and the emphasis on confidentiality should be maintained in this process. Questionnaire and purpose. A questionnaire is designed to elicit data from individual for analytical and diagnostical purpose. The form of response to a structured set of questions. The key features include questionnaire, which can include open-ended, a general question is asked and responded, written in with their replies. Forced choice respondent asked to select their preferred answers to a questions from 4 or 5 questions, analytical or judgmental. Respondent asked to indicate the extent to which they agree or disagree with the statement. Somewhere like a Likert scale. Strongly agree, disagree, somewhat agree. Questionnaire should be straight and easy to understand. Simple, brief, while still achieving the objective of exercise. Clearly organized and presented in order to minimize the input error. Interesting to ensure high response rates and what they achieved. Keep in mind, if you are going to use this for quantitative analysis, then you might want to have various sections in the questionnaire so that you can later convert this data for analysis. The sequence of activities include defined purpose and objective, typically on the basis of data collection for individual interviews and or focus groups. Define the areas to be covered, decide on the questions to be asked in each area, decide on the size of the questionnaire as possible and as small as possible, while still achieving objectives, typically around 50 questions. Design a layout to ensure that the questionnaire is easy to follow, complete, and analyze word questions, ensuring that they are straightforward and clear. Add any necessary instruction. Devise an appropriate rating scale. An attitude survey is another approach. The purpose of an attitude survey is specific form of questionnaire which can provide data on the beliefs and opinions of the employee, which can be used to focus attention on communication, performance, management, and project leadership, etc. The key features here is to seek to measure perception rather than collect factual data. The indicator of future trouble spots, useful comparison of between functions, guides, etc. Analysis must be of an interpretative nature and must avoid drawing too much fictional reference. Main use of the attitude surveys to collect views from large number of people, collect views anonymously on sensitive issues, where the nature of extent of particular attitude is in question. Example, attitude survey can be used to prompt management into action. The information can be used as a benchmark against which measures change. Survey can be used to support a range of organization development approach. Carrying out an attitude survey, there are 5 main stages to carry out an attitude survey. Survey planning, questionnaire design, pilot, survey administration, and analysis and report. The survey planning, which is firstly determined to find the objective of the survey. Ask the sponsor what they want to find out. Make a list of areas or issues to be covered. Find out what will be done with the results, and secondly, decide upon the sample. When constructing a sample, ensure all groups are represented in proportion to the whole solution. Perhaps a stratified sampling or a random sampling depending on the survey itself. The larger the sample, the more representative it will be. Larger number can handle fairly economically. Randomize the sample. Do not simply pick names beginning from A and B or B. Remember that the sample size will need to be large. If you are wise to compare different groups, example, it would not be fair to analyze out marketing department views if only 1 or 2 out of 100 in the department were in the sample. The final part of planning involves determining timescale for survey, securing resource for administration, using external agency, sending answers direct to the agency, and can help reinforce claims of autonomy. Any survey over 150 to 200 response will prove difficult to analyze manually, and we might need to use tools like SPSS or R or Python in order to get reasonable analysis. We can obviously, basis this, draw charts as well and prepare reports. The questionnaire design, there are 4 main guidelines. The questionnaire should be very simple to understand. The layout should be clear. The survey should be brief as possible. Every extra 15 questions should knock 5% off the return rate. The questions should be carefully written. Writing the question should address a single issue. Group questions on similar issues together. If possible, include a random mix of positive and negative to avoid the halo or horns effect avoid extreme positive or negatives, avoid neutral statements. And then finally, the layout include instruction at the beginning written in simple, direct, plain English. Of course, presumably that the language widely spoken is English, spoken and understood as English. Demographic details at the beginning, which includes the age, uh, length of service, grade, department, and can be sometimes used to compare different groups. And then the pilot, this is a trial run to uncover unclear questions or tack off the clarity in the design. A focus group with a pilot group is useful to find out if people interpreted the question the same way. Survey administration, the key issues in this are administrating the answers coming from concerned people. Why are they doing this? Why have they been chosen? What will they do with it? Are they tracking my response? How long will this take? These concerns should be addressed, though announcements, covering letters, email from sponsors, or briefings should be analyzed. The analysis report or analysis and report, there are a number of ways of analyzing the survey data. Simple component distribution, example, percentage who agree strongly within a statement. Combined distribution, the percentage who neither agree or disagree, or very strongly agree or strongly disagree within a statement. Cross tabulation, one way percentage with the 5 years experience who agree. Two-way percentage of grade X at site, one who agree. And three-way percentage of grade X at site, one with over 5 years service who agree. Remember the CRISP principle. Too much fine analysis could cloud the issue. Also, if you only have small sample, it may be that there a three-way tabulation actually only means one or two people. The attitude survey reports should be in include five main things. Describe the objective, explain the methodology and example, show data graphically, overleaf, pull out main points, and conclusion using pyramid principle. Discuss how to follow up. Using the Likert scale, statement should be a reasonable expected positive. We can trust our managers to do what they say. Strongly disagree, strongly agree, or reasonable expected negative. People on the other departments do not try to help me solve the problem. Strongly disagree, strongly agree. The statement could be extreme or neutral. I will trust my manager with life. People in other departments bend over backwards to help me in every way. Some people in the department are helpful, other than not. Always allow a central refuge for the time or the others who cannot make. They have make up their minds or do not know. If you do not, they may tend to be positive and skew the data. Now, the same data which you are formulating as strongly disagree to strongly agree and somewhat agree, you can convert this into numbers. So, strongly agree can be 1, strongly disagree can be 3, and somewhat agree can be 2, for example. And this data, once converted based on the sample, can be loaded into analytical tools like IBM SPSS or R or Python as a CSV file or an Excel file. And analytical data can be gained out of it by running ANOVA, regression, correlation, and other forms of analysis. The sequence of activities include agree purpose, agree areas to cover, define survey population and sample size, identify required resources and facilities, Agree the timetable, design the questionnaire as questionnaire section, pilot the questionnaire as a sample to remove any design faults, understand survey administration, set up a URL link, etc. Undertake a data process often done through specialist processing companies, analyze and interpretation, concentrate upon the key issues emerging. The results should then be led back to employees with indication of how issues are to be tackled. Um, and one of the techniques I use is make videos like this and upload along with the survey so that those of whom I do not meet in person or who are referred, share the link is shared digitally, can get an understanding of the questionnaire, and click the video and understand what those concepts mean. And that has worked fairly well for me. Handling data, a key challenge for a consultant is to ensure that he or she is able to make a comprehensive record from an interview focus group while at the same time ensuring that the interview feels that the consultant is giving them the full attention. Each individual will have their own preferred method of recording data. It is important to review how effective the method is for providing you with coherent record of the meeting. Almost the possible techniques which can aid the process are as follows. Define the purpose, background, minutes. Leave yourself 5 minutes after a meeting to tidy up your notes. Use highlighter pen, main words, phrase, topic, subheading. Space well to allow points to be added. Consider dividing pages between question and answer or relate questions to numbers. This involves arranging data around central theme using words, acronyms, pictures, and making links between various points. The advantage to brain map is that the ideas can often in a random way or in it is easy to place them under the relevant theme if they are presented on one page. Now, here is an example where you have a project startup. The goals are mentioned, timelines, deliverable, contingency, sponsor, advocate, and target groups are mentioned, resources and budget mentioned, venues for kick up or kick off of the meetings are mentioned. So, when summarizing at the end of the interview, in short, you capture and agree the main action points. Analyze the data. Dealing with data in tabular form involves firstly deciding upon what you wish to demonstrate. There are 5 basic sorts of comparison: component, item, time series, distribution, and correlation. The comparison, look at the following table. As you can see, of car sales, the years are mentioned, the compact is mentioned, mediums are mentioned, the size, large, medium, and the total volumes are mentioned. You might think it is better to present all these figures to a client. However, you will need to draw out the figures, particularly point out the significance one. For example, total car sale rose by 80% between 2011 and 2016. It is a time series comparison. In 2011, sales of compact car exceeded the sales of large cars. This is an item comparison. Below, we describe each type of comparison. Component comparison, these look at the share or percentage of a total. For example, share of a market taken by compact, medium, and large cars. Item comparison, these look at relative size. Example, X is more than Y. Difference between X and Y or rank order. For example, sales of compact cars compared to large cars. Time series, these look at trends and use words such as between, since, from, to, increase, decrease, fluctuate, growth, and define. For example, total car sales grew by 80% between 2011 and 2016. This is time series. Distribution, this look at quantity of an item falling in range of categories. Typically, statement include frequency, concentration, or distribution. For example, a number of staff in each age group, correlationship, These look at relationship between two variables, for example, unemployment levels and car purchase or spending on food related to family size. Then we have scales, and scales can affect the shape of the chart. Should choose the scale that reflects your interpretation of the significance of the chart in the data. Try not to omit a section of the scale unless you wish to emphasize the change in the levels. Clearly indicate when you do this. Be careful when using multiple scale chart. Consider the relationship of one scale to another and work if possible for a common base.